It's awfully rational for a lot of people. I kind of say that, there is no institution in America with a shorter time horizon than the House of Representatives. And the fact is, it's rather rational in Washington to not care about even the median term. And I think that's unfortunate. And I think part of the role of libertarians and the public is to remind people that sooner or later, the long term does catch up with you.
I wonder what Richard Wagner and James Buchanan, professors of yours and mine, who wrote an important book
Democracy
on
and Deficit.
Democracy and Deficit. I wonder what they would think $6 trillion later, because it seems like any pretense that we care about all of the problems created by deficits. I mean, it should be sort of obvious by now, but I see no change in Washington in terms of like maybe we shouldn't spend another $1 trillion.
I think part of the rhetoric where we have lost on is, except for maybe a few members of Congress, most look at the spending per se as a good thing. Like for them, okay, I don't want to have to borrow, but the spending is so important for whatever purpose.
Yeah.
And I do think we need to shift the conversation back to spending. Because tax revenues have gone up almost a fourth since Joe Biden's been in office. So we're not having deficits because we're not bringing more money in. We're bringing record amounts of revenue in. The question is, we've spent even more. In getting that on a sustainable path, I think, is critical. But I do think that as long as the battle is just about deficits without really being explicit about what's spending, and not only that it's not a question of can we afford it, it's a question of is this spending itself a good thing?
Yeah.
And you and I would probably most of it say not only is it not a good thing, but it's actually doing harm in many instances. And I think that's the battle. I'm not sure I'd even say we've lost the battle because I'm not even sure we fought it.
Yeah.
Yes, we're, libertarians, Cato, Reason, many others, for the people, all good at pointing out a handful of examples, bridge to nowhere, that kind of thing. But I don't think we've really convinced the American people that much of federal spending is actually harmful.
There hasn't been a real fight about this since the untimely demise of the Tea Party. But
that's right.
Of course, the other half of that coin, and I have to sort of joyously report that Senator Mike Lee recently tweeted out, "End the Fed."
Yes.
Because, there's only three ways to spend money you don't have. You can raise taxes.
Borrow, print it, yeah.
You can borrow or you can print. And printing, sort of backed up not by Keynesian economics, but by modern monetary theory, is now like this magical sauce that we can just sprinkle on everything. And that is the more insidious, destructive thing today than even the crazy spending. But you would have to have like a two-front war on that.
You do. And the fact that the Fed has essentially monetarized the debt keeps interest rates at a level where, it used to. The last 12 months, obviously, interest rates have been very high for government borrowing, at least relative to the last 20 years. But, they suppressed interest rates so long, again, financial repression. And you don't see that this shifts savings into government. It shifts savings away from productive activities. There was a real reason why so much of the Great Recession was extremely weak productivity growth, which, to paraphrase something Larry Summers has said several times, productivity is it. If you care about economic growth, productivity is the single most important thing you should obsess about. And the fact that we continue to shift investment, and again, most of what the government does today is redistributive. People talk about investments, and again, you and I share a skepticism over whether the Inflation Act and Reduction Act will be another just whole package of cylindras. But the truth is the vast majority of what the government does is simply take $1 from you and give $1 to me. Mm-hmm. And there's no productivity growth in that. And so getting the conversation to focus on how do you grow living standards, there's almost no interest in that. It's all become zero-sum thinking in Washington. Not that it ever really deviated much from that in the past anyhow.